Welcome everyone to the BSBN predictions for Week 6 in the NFL. I have myself here and Dan with me as we're going to be going
Hey,
here throughout
guys.
we're going to be going on through some of these games here, giving you our best interpretation for who we feel is going to win in Week 6 and why. We're going to start off with Thursday night's primetime game here. It's going to be Eagles going to MetLife Stadium to
The game.
versus the Giants. I did say last week I was going to go Giants all the way, and I want to go to Giants. I do. I do. I so badly do. But we can't. I can't go with the Giants this week. I'm going to go with the Eagles. I think simple fact is just because, Jackson Dart showed that he still is a rookie. Like he showed against the Saints he's a rookie. Like he had a game against the Chargers. It was impressive to win, but it wasn't like, he wasn't it wasn't enough to for me to go ahead and say, that was just a bad game. Against the Saints, he showed that he was still a rookie, 1,000%. There's going to be growing pains, and I think that this is going to be one of them. I think I still do like Jackson Dart. I think without the biasness, I think that Jackson Dart could be a good quarterback in this league when he refines his skills and really gets himself going and actually learns how to run with the ball properly in this league. And I think he needs a scrambling quarterback to show him, or he needs to look at film at how Jalen Hurts does it. I hope he's watching lots of film at how Jalen Hurts runs the football, because it's exactly what he needs to do. Hopefully he doesn't take the same kind of regards from passing. Although I do think that Jalen Hurts can pass the ball, I do think that Jackson Dart needs to learn how to run with the ball. Not when, but how, because I think he runs the ball at a good amount. I like the way he plays the game, but I think this is going to come down to the fact that the Giants are just very young right now, and they don't have the firepower to go up against the Eagles, not even at home. I'm not going to give it to them at MetLife. Even if I were to split one, it would be at MetLife, but I'm not going to put it there as such. Oh, Dan just left the call for some reason. So yeah, I'm going to go with the.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that.
Okay, I'm going to
I
go with the.
misclicked.
I'm going to go with the Eagles here, in this game. And I have the score. I forgot what I just said for the score, but I have the Eagles winning this game.
24.
What was it?
It's 35-24.
So 35-24 in favor of the Eagles is what I have them here for.
Vic also has the Eagles winning this game, 31-21.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm gonna have to basically agree with everything you said. Like, yeah, I get Jackson Dart as a rookie, and the game against the Chargers, he did come out and showed some energy to the team, and maybe that's what it was on why they did so well. But after that game against the Saints this previous week in week 5, he definitely showed his rookie knowledge as a rookie quarterback. It wasn't like he was being, yeah, he had those 2 plays that he drove down the field with, but other than that, he really showed how much of a rookie he still is. And we really didn't see that much growth from week 5 into week 6. I thought we saw more
Week 4 to week
digression
5?
than, or yeah, to week 4 to week 5. I actually think we saw digression because at some point during that game, he made a lot of mistakes. It wasn't as confident as he was in week 4, but yeah, he has to get better at running the ball. But the Giants defense I don't know what's going on with that Giants defense, because, man, when you have Abdul Carter, when you have Darius Alexander, Brian Burns, and Dexter Lawrence, you expect, and also Thibodeau, you expect that defense to apply more pressures than going back into coverage. And for some reason, I don't know why, but the DC sees that they should be going back in coverage. And I just don't understand the knowledge behind that, because Abdul Carter showed that he has grown from week 1 to now week 5. He's shown it. You see how much he's pressuring the quarterback and everything when he has a chance to blitz. But I honestly think if they played this defense differently, Abdul Carter would be in discussion for probably rookie of the year on defense, because of how talented he is, and you see it because he's improving week after week and get into the quarterback when he has the option to. But yeah, I just think the Eagles are the more complete team. They find ways to win. They are you can't deny that they're one of the better teams in the NFC East right now, or even in the NFC period, because of how good that roster is. And yeah, Jalen Hurts hasn't been having a, a highlight passing year this year, but for some reason the Eagles still find ways to win. And yeah, they did lose to the Broncos, but they were winning that whole game, and just the game got away from them in the fourth quarter. So yeah, also have the Eagles winning this one, 35-18. I just see it being a more dominant win than anything.
Okay. And then, as we said already, Vic has the Eagles 31-21. He can't be with us, but he is with here in spirit, as he did write down his scores for us to kind of go after. Next, we're going to kind of talk about the Denver Broncos versus the New Jersey. New Jersey. Oh God, that'll kill me. New York
Yeah, New
Jets.
Jersey Jets. Yep.
Yeah, no,
The New
New York
Jersey
Jets.
Jets.
Shut up.
And the New
Shut up.
Jersey Giants, right?
Shut up. Going against the New York New York Jets and whatnot. This one is. I think this one's taking place in. I think this one's taking place in London. All right. So this is taking place in London. This is going to be 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time Zone on Sunday. It'll be the early morning game here. The Denver Broncos, I think, are going to take this game. Again, as a New York fan, I want to go for the Jets. I do, but I just think there's too many inconsistencies, and I don't think it's more necessarily the fact that Denver's a good team. I'm going to go with the fact that I think the Jets are just such a bad team right now. That's the horrible part about it. Because I think the Jets right now, they struggle with themselves a lot. It's not even just these games that they're coming into, they're doing a lot of like fourth quarter comebacks, and they're trying to get themselves into the game. And I would have liked to see more in the first three quarters out of them, but you can't. It's impossible. It's just not a lack of consistency between the teams. You have the fact that the Jets constantly are the most penalized team, or one of the most penalized teams in the league on offense, especially with that offensive line, which is atrocious. It's bad. It's a disgrace to see how bad they actually do week in and week out when it comes to protecting their QB. When it comes to not getting a penalty, they can't seem to do that. So they're just in constant penalty like zones, and it's hurting them more than anything. It's one of those things that hold them back, and then the turnovers as well. I love Breece Hall, and I think Breece Hall's had not phenomenal. He's had a great season so far. Just the one thing that needs to change is the turnovers. That's it. The fumbling from him, the whole team in general, it's just been bad. They had a game against Miami, turnovers and penalties, the worst thing about them. The Bills, the worst thing about them, turnovers and penalties. I went to that game. I still have my terrible towel. It's a lot of these things are just turnovers, penalties. That's the Jets. That's their motto. That's what they have to offer is that. And without them getting away from that, I can't see them beating the Denver Broncos, who are a good team. Bo Nix played good. They just beat the Eagles in Philly. I don't think they're going to turn around and lose to the Jets at home, in MetLife. Actually, MetLife? I don't know if it's in MetLife.
London.
It's no. Oh, yeah, it's in London. That's right. Duh. Sorry. I don't think they're going to come around and win this internationally. I just don't. So I'm giving the Broncos this win. I'm going to take them 31-21 because as much as I would make this more of a blowout, for some reason, the fourth quarter, the Jets turn on the thing. They can have 3 points. They'll find their way within 10 points of the game almost every time. So I'm gonna give this one to the Broncos 31-21.
Yeah, and Vic had the score going in favor of the Broncos too, 36-24.
We'll get their scores
But
at the end. We'll talk about ours real quick. Yeah.
I do feel that when you look at the Jets, they're a good team at being very inconsistent, but consistent penalty-wise. And you see that when it comes down to the fourth quarter, because they do try to make comebacks in the fourth quarter, but at that point, the game's already gone from you.
I can admire the effort.
Yeah, the effort's there, but the game's already too far gone for you to even make an effort to try to win the game. And with a team like Denver, they put up points no matter who they go against. And it's just they're a very hard offense to stop, because you have you have Sutton, you have Bo Nix, you have Dobbins at running back. Just a very hard team to stop in general. And I do think that this is going to be more of a blowout game, kind of similar to the Giants. But like you said, the Jets do fight. So I do have this game being 35-20.
Okay.
Somehow the Jets are going to, or 35-22, because somehow the Jets do find ways to put up points.
You know, last year, the the owner of the Jets said that the team needed a spark around this time in the year. They were 2-3 last year, and they needed a spark going into week 6. And that spark was them firing Coach Saleh. Remember that, right? Well,
Yeah.
what is the spark that the Jets need this week if they want to get
Somebody
something
to make
going?
a big play on defense. This is not coming down to Aaron Glenn needs to be fired because he doesn't. He's trying to get this team together and operate under one consistent function. But at the end of the day, the offense line is just so terrible. It's more so the offensive line to blame for why they're so flagged heavy. Because, yeah, okay, you get flags on defense, but at the same time, everybody, whether you're an offense or whether you're a wideout or a D-back, you are going to get your hands involved, and it's kind of hard not to get a holding penalty or even like hands to the face or something along those lines because it's it's a contact sport at the end of the day. So you end up using your hands, and you really can't blame the defense that heavily because, like I said, it's a contact sport. Their job is to try to interfere and make the wide receiver's job harder. You don't want it to be easier to where they always catch the ball. You want to make it harder on them. So it's not really a defensive issue in my opinion, but it is mainly an offensive line issue, and that line needs to find a way to somehow get on the same page and stop taking all these unnecessary but consistent penalties that they take.
Okay. And cut
What do
right there.
you what do you think the Jets need for the spark this week?
If I had to give them a spark to get into week 6, you know, honestly, I don't think it would have to be anything too miraculous. I think they would just need like a big they would need something new to energize them. They need something to electrify them. And I think what other better to give them a jolt of energy than goddamn freaking Pikachu, bitch? Let's go! Pikachu in the race. Let's go, Jets. Get the goddamn spark you need for week 6. Yeah, no, I think they need to just not have penalties. And that's it. Just no penalties. That's the only thing they need to spark. Just get the damn no penalties and just play the ball. Play clean football. That's it. That's their spark. Just to play good. They just need to play good. That's it. And Pikachu as well. If you have a 9-volt battery in your head. All right. So we're gonna go into the next game here. What we have? Who's next here? What are the games we have?
Jaguars.
Seahawks versus Jaguars. This was a tough one for me.
Yeah, I
This
think it's tough for everybody, man, because the Jaguars have been playing good. You can't knock what they have done going up against teams that they have so far this year.
I know, and
And
I want to
they're
go
looking
them.
good.
I want to go the Jaguars in this game. I do, and I almost picked them. I really did. I had to sit here and think about this one for a little bit. There's some brain teasers in this week. I almost went with the Jaguars into this game, but I did end up going with the Seahawks. I'm gonna give them the game 31-24. And I think it's just because I don't know. I think the Seahawks are playing good. I think they have right now better passing game than the Chiefs do, and I think that'll be a weakness that gets exposed for Jacksonville. I think we could see definitely some passing yards thrown, especially with Jackson Smith over there. You know, I think that Kansas City doesn't have anyone like that over there. They have Worthy. He's good, but he's not like top tier caliber players like Jackson Smith. And I just think that that's just one of those games that are going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. But I have the Seahawks going into this one winning 31-24. I think it's not high scoring, but you know, I'm giving the Jaguars their respect, but I do think the Seahawks come out with the victory in this one.
I'm gonna be the difference maker here because so far it seems like everyone or our broadcast has taken the Seahawks. I'm actually gonna turn around and take the Jaguars in this. I just think that the Jaguars have been very consistent on offense and defense to where they're making it hard for teams. They made it extremely hard for the Chiefs to even put points on the board. I think they're going to go into this game the same way they went into the game with the Kansas City Chiefs. You're going to see them fight. You're going to see them put up some points. You're going to see them make plays. And I think this is going to be more so come down. It's going to be a very close game, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a 30 to 28 point game. I just think it's going to be close. The Jags are going to pull out the win. And yeah, I think they're going to try to make it known that they're a force to be reckoned with in the AFC South.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's not a bad thing. And then Vic has the Seahawks winning 27-24. So we have two Seahawks here, and then Dan has the Jaguars in this one, which I don't fault him for it, honestly. I almost picked them myself. Next one up here is we're gonna include Carolina here because we haven't included Carolina. I'm gonna show some Carolina some love, and we're gonna talk about the Cowboys versus the Panthers here. And when I say show Carolina some love, I just mean including them into the video because I feel like we haven't included them. But I'm giving the Cowboys the win in this one. Just because I feel like even though I've seen progression throughout the weeks from Carolina, there have been their ups, but I think their downsides are still there. To where I don't see them coming out with a win against Dallas, even with their defense being what it is. I hope to see Dowdle have another fantastic running game. He had over 200 yards last week, and I would love to see him have more yards this week. And if Bryce Young could really pull something together, I could see them maybe making a win in this game. But I'm gonna take the Cowboys in this one, not by a blowout, but kind of like I guess a miniature blowout. I'm taking Dallas to win this one. I'm taking Dallas to win this one, 27-14. And I think it's just going to come down to the Dallas Cowboys offense being what it is, and the fact that we're possibly getting CD Lamb back this week. He is listed as questionable, with a possibility of returning. I think it's more of a game time decision. So for you fantasy owners, hopefully he comes back this week. The fantasy owner being me as well. I'm hoping he comes back this week. But yeah, I do think that I have the Cowboys winning this one. I just don't think the off firepower of the Carolina Panthers is enough to get through that defense, even with the defense not being as great as it can be, for Dallas.
Yeah, no, yeah, Carolina basically, and with Carolina, it's kind of hard because all their games really haven't been that entertaining to really include them. But this game and the way Carolina has played in recent weeks, they have shown some improvement. But when you look at the Cowboys, that offense is just so heavy, and I think that offense is just gonna succeed at taking opportunities when they can. Because when you look at the likes of like Dak Prescott and then the O line and then also George Pickens, you have very consistent players. And if they do have CD Lamb back, Dak has his guy again. And I think it's just going to be they're going to be able to make these plays and complete the drives more so than the Panthers will. It's just very hard with the Panthers because they can look like a team that will compete one week and then the next week they just somehow lose that energy that they had to follow the previous week.
I don't disagree. Yeah, 100%.
And I think this game is going to be more so along the lines of a blowout where it's going to be 32-14 in favor of the Cowboys.
Okay, and then Vic has the Cowboys as well. I believe he has them 31-17. So we all have the Cowboys here, right? Is that one of the Cowboys?
Yes, we do.
All right, so we all have the Cowboys here. Excuse Dan's yawning. He has a yawning problem. He has a yawn mania over here. He's too tired for his own well-being. This is a good game right here. We have San Fran versus Tampa Bay. The 49ers go to Tampa to versus the Buccaneers here. Both teams 4-1. this is a great game, and I think for some it could be game of the week. Um, I actually, for me, I would put it up there. It's in my top three, but my game of the week actually is probably gonna be the same as Vic's, which we'll get into it later on. Um, but this game could be fun. I really do. This was the hardest match for me I match like it's a tennis game, tennis match. But but I think it's the hardest game for me to call just because the 49ers, as riddled with injury as they are, they're finding ways to win. They might get Purdy back this week. They're still injured for the most part, but the main key of their offense and all their defense is still healthy. But the main key to their offense, which is McCaffrey, is still out there, which means they will have a shot at winning any game they play this season. Mark my words. He's an onslaught of offense, time in, time out, every game. I don't think he's had a bad game yet in the season. He's been playing fantastic, and it's just, they look amazing with him out there. The defense is playing solid. They played great. I mean, it's hard for me to go against them, but unfortunately, I am going against them. I am going to pick this game. I'm going to go Tampa Bay, but I have it being a very, very close game just because I do think that Tampa Bay, just like the 49ers, have found ways to win. They have come back from the worst of the worst, and they've made games where there shouldn't be games. And both these teams are great in close game situations, but I'm going to take the Buccaneers in a nail biter down to the end. I'm going to give them the win 24-21 with a game-winning field goal, probably in the last drive of this game. That's how I have it being here.
Yeah, no, the 49ers have been looking very good this year, even with the injury-riddled team that they have. But like you said, they're finding ways to still stay in these games. Whether it's with Mac Jones or Brock Purdy, they're finding ways to still stay in these games and compete. And that's something you want to see out of your team. You don't want to see your team struggling to not compete during games because that's just a whole moral defeat when you go back to the locker room and sets a bad tone for the remainder of the year. But yeah, with Tampa, it's also very confusing because they can drive downfield and be losing, but still keeping games close when they do have the talent to blowing most teams out in the league. But I think this is going to remain to be the consistent thing we've seen from the Buccaneers and the 49ers. I think this is going to be a very close game. Maybe even go to overtime because I have this game being a 27-30 game.
This could be an overtime game. That is exactly right. But who do you have winning this one?
The Buccaneers. So 30-27.
And then Vic also has the Buccaneers here. Vic has the Buccaneers in this one, 24-21. Actually, we have the same exact score.
Both have the same score.
Wow, crazy. All right. So yeah, we both have the same exact score for this one. I think a lot, like looking at the sheet here, it looks like we have kind of a lot of similar games here. His score for the Bears game actually was the original score I was going to put, but I went against it. But yeah, no. So I have them winning this game. The Bucs. I don't think that I don't think the 49ers are a bad team, but I do think that the 49ers are just a tad bit not ready for Tampa. So I'm taking Tampa to win this game. Ooh, who do we have next? Oh God, we have a good one here. This is Detroit versus Kansas City. That's a good matchup. That's like one to watch out for here. I think this is a good matchup here. We obviously have two top teams. Detroit being 4-1 right now, going to Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium, going in there tonight. Not tonight, but Sunday night prime time. Detroit's going in here 4-1. Kansas City's not looking too hot. They're 2-3 right now, and they don't get Rashee Rice back until week 7. But I think at the same time, you have still you're playing in Kansas City. I think that's a hard environment to play in. I do have Detroit winning this game. I'm going to take them just because I think the Lions, and you touched on it during the podcast, Dan, where I feel like the progression since week 1 has been nothing but up. And I feel like they are the team right now in the NFC to beat.
I think they're getting better week in, week out, to
It's
be completely honest with
yeah,
you.
and so it's great to see the progression from them. So I am taking them in this game, and I have it being kind of a blowout, but not because of Kansas City being bad, just because I don't know if that's not a blowout really. It's 10 points, but I guess for when I'm thinking about the Chiefs, I think like anything of them losing is kind of a blowout really at this point. But I have the Lions winning this one 31-21. I just don't think the defense can hold up against the offense. I think there's a morale issue on that defense. You could see it, especially when it came down to like Chris Jones. I think Chris Jones has been very, very emotional this year, in the worst ways possible. I think that he's letting everything get to him, whether it had been Jalen Hurts, or whether it had been what's it called, getting into his head when they lost in that game against Philly, whether it had been against the Jaguars when he went ahead and, like he looked at Trevor Lawrence for the final touchdown. He didn't do anything about it. He just watched him run into the end zone, and that was, not a good look. I didn't like that by Chris Jones. So, I think that I have this one just because I don't think the defense is there right now for Kansas City. I'm gonna put this one 31-21 in favor of the Lions, just because the offense is too good right now, and I think the defense for Kansas City is on the decline at the moment.
No, like you said, for some reason, after week 1, something snapped in this Lions locker room, and it just seems like they have been progressively getting better and better each week. Sonic and Knuckles have been doing their thing. They have been arguably the top running back duo in the league right now, going into week 6. And I just think that that's with that offense and even Amara St. Brown, that whole team is just, they're clicking on the right cylinders lately after that week 1 horrendous loss that they had to the Packers. And when you look at that team, they're just so consistent and they're going to be very hard. And for some reason, Kansas City don't have the consistency to match. Like, yeah, you have Worthy, and yeah, you have Patty Mahomes, but like we've been saying all year, one player can only do so much for you before you start accumulating losses more and more. You need a supporting cast around Patrick Mahomes, and yeah, he has Travis Kelsey, Worthy, Isaiah Pachenko, but these players just haven't been able to make make an impact for him yet so far this year. And I think the Kansas City struggles are going to continue because that defense, like you said, just the morale on that defensive side seems to be shot. I don't know why, but they just look to be defeated somewhat, some way, shape, or form. And maybe it is because that lost rematch against the Eagles. You want to go into that game, you want to win that game, and you ended up losing that game. And it could definitely defeat a locker room to some points. But you have to get it together because if you want to make the playoffs, this is going to be a game that you're going to have to look to try to get that morale boost back up. But I do think the Lions are going to end up winning this game 38-21 just because the firepower they have. And it doesn't seem to be slowing down.
Yeah, and I have, and Vic also has the Lions here 27-20 going into this one. So all three for the Lions here for Sunday night prime time. Chiefs fans, I think that, you're also facing the same depression that a lot of us in the league have faced since your guys' dynasty. So buckle up. Hopefully you guys get something back. I mean, for your sake, but it's not so bad if you don't. It's a bumpy ride. So take the lumps. You guys have a lot of success in the past, and you still have some in the future as long as Mahomes is your quarterback. All right, going into Monday night, we have two primetime games here. We have the Bills versus the Falcons for our next game up. Bills game is going to be happening, I think, 7 o'clock Eastern. I don't have the time up in front of me right now, but we have that game coming up. I think the Bills are the Bills away for this game?
15. Yup, Bills are away.
Bills are away. So The Bills, I think, as Dan touched on the podcast, if you haven't seen the podcast, please go check it out. We have it on the YouTube channel. I think that the Bills have had a bad habit of, and I hate using this as an excuse, but I do think it's true. I think they are playing down to their opponent. They didn't do good against the Raiders. Not the Raiders, sorry.
Dolphins.
Not the Dolphins. I'm not even gonna say the
Patriots.
Dolphins. No. What team did they lose to before? Did they beat them? The Saints. They didn't play good against the Saints. And then again, they didn't play good against against the Patriots. They didn't play well, and I wanted to see more out of the Bills because I think the Bills right now are the team to beat in the AFC. I want to see more out of them, so I'm hoping to see more out of them. I'm going to take them for a bounce back game this week. I'm going to take James Cook to have a much better week than he had last week because he killed me in fantasy, and I thought he was going to be like the breadwinner for me. And meanwhile, they both went terrible. But I'm going to take them to win this game. I think James Cook is going to have a bounce back game. I think that Josh Allen's going to have a bounce back game. I think we're going to see a much better game out of them this week, hopefully. And I'm going to take them. And also, Atlanta's coming off the bye. They might be a little rusty. They could be arrested as well, but it's early in the season. I don't like early season bye weeks. It's bad, I think, and I think that it's going to show in Atlanta. So I'm going to take the Bills to win this game 24-14.
But yeah, I agree. I don't know why, but for some reason, the Bills seem to be playing down to the caliber of talent that the other team has, and I just find that to be completely unacceptable, especially when you look at these pro teams. And you see this a lot, not just in football. You see this all across the board when it comes to sports. You see this in hockey, you see this in baseball. Teams just for some reason when they're playing bad teams try to go down to their try to meet their matchup. Just because the team is better, you shouldn't do that. Just because your team is better, you shouldn't do that. I feel like that's childish in a way for adults to do that. Because you're in the NFL, you're making millions of dollars. You have to play to your full potential. This isn't high school ball, this isn't college football. You're making money out of what you love doing and a sport you love to play. Go out there and play it. Don't just make a half-ass effort at doing your job. And I do think that's what the Bills have been doing of recently, because, like you said, they struggled against the Dolphins, they struggled against the Saints, and they also struggled against the Patriots. And these are teams that you shouldn't be struggling against when you have the talent that you do on the Bills. But I do think this is going to be a bounce back game for them. I do think it's going to be more a blowout because, like you said, I do think the early week bye is going to affect the Falcons in a much more worse way than positive way. And I have this score being 45-21 in favor of the Bills.
Okay. And then Vic has the Bills winning this one 33-24. Of course, he had to throw a random score in there. But yeah, so we all have the Bills winning this game. Hopefully it's a Bills bounce back game. Good luck for you, because I know the fans must have been disappointed. Those jerseys, though, those whiteout jerseys, though,
Wear them every day.
Sick, absolutely sick. So yeah, and then the last game here of the week, we have the Bears. Oh, wait, give me 1 second, Dan. Sorry. No. I'm gonna have to cut this out. It's okay. Okay. Sorry about that. The last game we have here. Let's get like a couple seconds. All right. Last game we have here going into Sunday, it's a Monday night prime time here, is the Bears versus the Commanders. Vic has this as his game of the week. I have this as potentially my game of the week. It's between this and the 49ers and the Buccaneers. You know what? Thinking about it now, I'm going to give it to the 49ers and the Buccaneers, actually, going back to it. This game's going to be a fun one. I think that the Bears are overlooked in this league right now. I think they're vastly underestimated. And truthfully, I like the Bears. I think the Bears they have a great offense. I love their offense. They have one of my favorite receivers in the league right now in Odunze. He's fun to watch. The guy is crazy good. Caleb Williams looks great out there. They're just a couple of weapons away from having such an elite offense, and I think that they definitely need a better defense as well, but they have the pieces there right now. And if they can keep that connection between DJ Moore or Odunze and Caleb Williams, they're going to have a fantastic future ahead of them. In this game here, I'm going to take the Bears to win this game because, again, I think they're vastly underestimated. And I like the Commanders. I think the Commanders are a great team as well. That Deebo Samuel there has clicked. He's been perfect over there. And I do think the Commanders can edge this one out for sure. But if you're asking me first glance, you had to just pick a team like, shoot, just pick a team to win. I'm taking the Bears in this one. I think it's going to be a close game, but a high-scoring one at that. I think the offense is going to be a good one. I think the defense might, suffer here or there, but I do like this matchup a lot. This is one of probably the better games that I'm hopefully going to see during the year. Between both teams, I like this matchup a lot. I just do. So I'm going to take the Bears in this one to win just because the offense has been so good, and I think the defense is competent enough to stop the Commanders when it counts most. And right now, the Commanders are kind of going through their own inconsistencies. I do think the Commanders are a good team. I think Jaden Daniels is a great quarterback. I love Deebo Samuel there. Love what he's doing. I love Terry McLaurin over there. I think they're great together when they're not all injured. But I think right now, I think the Bears got this game. I'm gonna go bear down here. We're gonna do 35-28 is my score for this game in Monday night prime time. It's gonna be one to watch for sure.
Yeah, this game, it's kind of tricky to call, but at the same time, I do think the Commanders, they have been clicking on all fronts, in my opinion. And their run game has been one of the better run games in the league as recently. And I don't know, for Jaden Daniels to be back there and coming off a win against the Chargers in a 27-10 fashion, I don't think the Bears are going to be able to. Will they keep it close? Probably, but I just think the Commanders are the better team all around. And I think the Commanders and the Bears, yeah, they have fun players to watch. Caleb Williams has been looking decent. DJ Moore has been having an all right year. And also they have Odunze, and Odunze is a great young wide receiver coming up. But I don't know. I just feel like the Commanders are going to end up winning this game. And I think it's going to be more so a closer game. I do think it's going to come down to a touchdown game. And I do have it being 28-21 in favor of the Commanders.
Okay. Yeah, not bad scores at all. I think a lot of close games here. I think we all have honestly similar scores in a lot of these games. It's really not bad to see. It kind of feels like, going into this, we kind of got more of a cohesive, mindset, even if we disagree with whether who's going to win or lose here. But Vic has the Bears winning against the Commanders 28-27. Very, very close scores here through all three predictions here. So we have 2 for the Bears, 1 for the Commanders. And yeah, that's it for week 6 predictions. I mean, it's going to be a great week. Be sure to watch. We're probably going to be live streaming the Giants versus the Eagles game for Thursday night prime time. Or, we'll kind of debate about it. I'll probably cut this part out. Maybe we could do the Monday night or something like that. We'll see. We'll see what works best for us. But thank you guys very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the predictions videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate you very much. Follow us on all social medias. You can find us at anywhere at Burst Network. BHRUST Network. Find us anywhere. Do appreciate you guys. Have a good night. Talk to you guys later.
Have a good weekend and enjoy the football games.